A busy week, it's hard to find time to just have a coffee break with your friends, but I've managed to do that. I am having McDonald's coffee with store-bought creamer in it. You guys having coffee with me, or am I the only one having coffee this coffee break?
No, I'm actually having a McDonald's coffee as well.
Well, I'm the oddball out then because I'm having whiskey and Coke.
Nice.
So, recently well, not recently, it's been bugging me for a while now, and I think I've talked about it with both of you multiple times, but I just wanted to get it off my chest one more time. There are so many shows out there that either drop plot points that you think would be epic or just waste potential. Like, one of my big examples is Star Trek Voyager, and the big example, one of the big, the Marquee is a big example from that I've gone over multiple times, I think, with both of you. But today, there's an episode where two characters, the pureblood Vulcan Tuvok, and the alien Neelix, who are totally different characters, end up becoming one character. And that lasts for only one episode. They should have stretched that. I know they would have had to pay the guest actor more, but it's Star Trek in the 90s. There were three Star Trek shows on at that time, or two. I don't know if I don't remember where it takes place. There might have been Next Generation might have been over, and it might have just been Deep Space Nine and Voyager. But there was at least two Star Trek shows at that time, so they had the income to keep the. But no, everything has to be the same when the episode ends as when it begins, and that's annoying. You know what I mean?
Oh, indeed. It's the same with Borg Child of 7 and 9. It only stuck around for a single episode, too.
I thought the
If you
Borg
remember
children, stuck around. Are you
No,
talking
not the
about
Borg children. Her child. From where her nanoprobes got infused with the Doctor's holometer, and it birthed a Borg drone out of nothing.
the future? The Borg of the future? Yeah. I can't remember his name though. I think it was one or something like that.
Yeah.
That was that.
Wasted potential there.
And it's not just Voyager that has. Voyager is my go-to because Voyager for some reason had to be the same, and the very slow progress. Like 7 of 9 had to learn the same lessons like 4 or 5 or 6 times. Same with the Doctor. It was very slow character progress even in that show. I can't really watch it anymore. Whereas Deep Space Nine had a story. The end of the Deep Space Nine episode, I think Anthony can probably back this up, was different than the beginning of a Deep Space Nine episode.
Most of them, yes. Since it was a darker, grittier version of the Star Trek universe. While Voyager was trying to stick to the roots of it all with next gen sort of thing. Unfortunately, like I typed to you, I think the writers or the directors had in their mindset that they still had access to all the Federation starports and that, even though they didn't, for repairing and everything else. Since
I'll jump in. I think like Next Gen and Voyager, they were meant to appeal to a larger audience, and as they're airing on television, they want to make sure that you can watch any one episode and not feel too lost, which it makes it easier for a new person to watch the show, but again, it does make it harder to re-watch some of these episodes or these shows or the season. Sorry, just because again, these characters seem to be stuck in a lack of development.
Indeed.
Anthony, you've watched movies or TV shows or played video games where they've dropped plots that you think could have been great, right?
Yeah, there's many TV shows that none are coming to the top of my head, but yeah, there are many shows that look like they're going to go in one direction or could go in one direction, and then don't. Um, you know, like for me, one that is sticking out is in the last Star Wars, or well, I guess the second last Star Wars, Episode 8, Last Jedi, when they're on Crate, which is that salt planet. Um, you know, Finn had the opportunity to sacrifice himself, and that would have been an interesting arc for his character to just sacrifice himself then and there. But he was prevented. He was prevented from taking that arc, which would have been. I think that would have been a dramatic difference and probably an improvement to that film.
Even if it was even if Finn's death was a pointless death, it would have meant something to the other characters.
Well, I think it would have meant something to him.
And everything, yeah.
And sorry for jumping from Star Trek to Star Wars.
It's all good. After all, there's plenty of shows out there.
Yeah.
Hell, a number of various sitcoms even have done it where they've gone from, like, they've ended in, like, the people having a bit of an argument sort of thing, and the next day they're all fine in the next episode sort of deal. Without any issues and all that, and no one seems to remember what the whole reason for the tiff in the first place, and the like. Stuff like that, it's just like...
On the other side of things, you have a show like Seinfeld, which is about nothing, therefore you don't really have any plots to drop.
True.
Yeah, but I think a lot of sitcoms can, a lot of sitcoms that are 30 minutes can do that, where, they revert back to the status quo, or, again, with minimal changes, and it just works. Because as much as we love the characters, we're there we're there for 30 minutes to forget about the real world.
True enough. I was thinking of like Home Improvement sort of thing with some of the hijinks going on there and some of the arguments that the cast members had amongst themselves on the show. And it's like, okay, they've had the bit. 5 minutes later, they're perfectly fine. It's like a little weird, since I remember other shows like Married with Children, where if the characters had an argument like that, it would drag on for an episode or two until it got resolved.
Then you have...
sort of thing.
Like, I haven't watched all of Babylon 5, but one thing I do know about Babylon 5 is it was supposed to be 5 seasons. It was written by a very good writer who... I forget his name. JMS? He did some Spider-Man stuff. Anyways, Babylon 5 was supposed to be 5 seasons. It was done by a very good writer who plotted everything out, and every character had great development, but they were, at the beginning of season 4, they were told there wouldn't be a season 5. So they crammed season 5 into season 4, and afterwards they were told they were getting a season 5. So then they have to do a whole season with no idea what they're doing, which causes it to be one of the worst seasons of the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember
but
bits
I think
and pieces of Babylon.
the opposite happens as well, like with Star Trek Enterprise, where that last episode just comes out of nowhere and is a really bad ending for the show. Like it's like happily ever, well, mostly happily ever after with a bow wrapped around it.
Yeah, I understand all too well. Considering, look at Discovery's bit with the Klingons, where it's supposed to be before the original, or even before Enterprise's sort of bit with the Klingons. Well, so not so much before Enterprise, but before the original Star Trek's bit with the Klingons, and how you've gone from the Klingons that they had in the Enterprise to these ones that look nothing like a Klingon in any shape or form, from out of like even with the original set, which were basically just standard old dudes with mustaches, more or less.
I haven't seen any of the recent shows.
Well, I
Are
just
they any
remember
good?
don't know too much with
Oh, no?
Discovery. I just remember the controversy about it, and I read a lot about it, and I looked at them like, how the hell is this supposed to be a Klingon? It looks like an alien bug. This suits more on aliens than it does on Star Trek.
Well, this is the power of Google. Oh yeah, wow. They
Yeah, they screwed up major.
look odd.
Considering it looks nothing like how the race is meant to, which threw that show a bit of a loop. Since that didn't last long, from what I understand. But from
Yeah,
what I
because
understand,
they look more reptilian.
hmm. But some, sorry there, Fjook.
It happened right around the time that I'm gonna cut this out, but it happened right around the time that Kevin Sorbo became a reborn Christian, when the show started to focus on Kevin Sorbo's character.
But could
Okay.
also be focused around like when he just became like a bigger star.
Who knows?
Yeah. I don't know too much about Kevin Sorbo. Like he's one of those odd '90s actors where it's like he did a lot of like sci-fi fantasy stuff, but it's like he kind of disappeared. I know the name. I've seen him on different shows, but
Yeah.
Oh, it's getting pretty close to Anthony's bedtime, and as I said, I have things to edit, so I'm gonna drop out of the call.